For 16 long, brutal years, a war had torn the Mediterranean apart. You had Rome, an empire pushed right to the edge of total collapse. And on the other side, Carthage, led by a military genius who, get this, had never been defeated. After all that time, after hundreds of thousands of lives were lost, it all comes down to this one moment, one day, on a dusty plain in North Africa, one final, epic showdown between two of the greatest generals in all of history. In one corner, you've got Hannibal Barca, the son of Thunderbolt, the man who did the impossible, crossing the Alps to bring Rome to its knees. And in the other corner, Publius Cornelius Scipio, the son of Serpent, a young Roman who was out to avenge his family and save his republic. See, this was way more than just a battle between empires. This was a personal duel, and it was going to decide the fate of the entire known world. So let's dive in and see how we got to this incredible, fateful encounter. So yeah, after 16 exhausting years, the Second Punic War was hitting its absolute climax. All those campaigns, all the wins and losses, they all led to this one single spot on the map, a flat, dusty plain near a little town called Zama. This was it. Everything was going to be settled right here, right now. So how in the world did we get here? Well, it all kicks off way back in 218 BC when Hannibal stormed into Italy. For years, the guy just seemed unstoppable. But then, look at the timeline, you see the shift around 210 BC. While Hannibal's busy in Italy, this young Roman general, Scipio, takes over in Spain. And by 206, he's completely kicked the Carthaginians out. A massive turning point. But his next move? It was gutsy. In 204 BC, he invades North Africa itself, taking the fight straight to Carthage's front door. That move forced their hand. In 202 BC, they had to call back their greatest weapon, Hannibal, for one last epic fight. The collision course was set. Now, here's something you'd see in a movie. Right before the fighting started, the two commanders actually met, face to face between their armies. Hannibal, the older, legendary general, he actually tried to make a peace deal. He warned young Scipio, fortune can change in an instant, and one bad day can wipe out a lifetime of victories. But Scipio, he wasn't having any of it. He basically said the time for talk was over. Carthage either surrenders completely or gets crushed on the battlefield. The die was cast. Okay, so with peace talks off the table, the fight was on. Let's take a closer look at the two masterminds and the armies they brought to this showdown. This is kind of like the tale of the tape for the Battle of the Century. So on one side, you've got Hannibal. For 16 years, his veteran army had never lost a major battle in Italy. They were probably one of the most battle-hardened forces in history up to that point. And on the other side, Scipio. He was young, but absolutely brilliant. He'd survived the total disaster at Cannae as a kid. He avenged his father and uncle by conquering Spain. And now he was here to settle the score once and for all. Now, if you just look at the raw numbers of foot soldiers, you'd think Hannibal has a pretty clear advantage here. He's got about 36,000 infantrymen to Scipio's 29,000. And in a battle that's going to come down to a brutal, grinding infantry fight, that's a pretty big deal. But, and this is a huge but, here's where things get interesting. Scipio had a massive advantage in cavalry. Thanks to his new ally, the Numidian king Massinissa, he had over 6,000 horsemen compared to Hannibal's 4,000. For Hannibal, a guy who won so many battles because he had the better cavalry, this was a really, really dangerous situation. And then there was Hannibal's trump card, his ace in the hole. 80 war elephants. These things were the tanks of the ancient world, designed to just smash through enemy lines, cause absolute panic, and create chaos. This was the weapon Hannibal was counting on to shatter those tough Roman legions. This showdown wasn't just going to be about brute force or who had more guys. Nope, this was a supreme test of strategy. It was like a chess match between two grandmasters. Let's break down the absolutely brilliant plans these two generals came up with. Okay, so Scipio knew those elephants were coming, and his solution was just genius, totally counterintuitive. Instead of forming a solid wall, he lined up his infantry units one behind the other. This created these wide-open lanes running straight through his entire army. The plan was to freak out the elephants with super loud horns and then funnel the panicked animals right through these harmless corridors where his lighter troops could just pick them off from the sides. Brilliant. Hannibal's plan was just as clever, a real masterpiece of grinding the enemy down. He knew the Roman infantry was incredibly tough, so he wasn't going to throw his best troops at them right away. No way. First, he'd send in his mercenaries to take that first big hit and just wear the Romans out. Then, a second line of new recruits would keep the pressure on. Only when the Romans were tired, bloody, and disorganized would he unleash his final wave, his elite, undefeated veterans from Italy. They were going to deliver the knockout blow. The plans are set. The speeches have been made. The armies are just staring each other down across the field. Okay, let's see how this legendary battle actually went down in 3 distinct and really dramatic acts. So first up, we're going to see the total chaos of the elephant charge. Then we get into the brutal, grinding fight between the infantry. And finally, the shocking twist that decided the fate of the ancient world. The battle kicks off. Hannibal gives the order, and 80 war elephants thunder across the plain. I mean, can you imagine? A terrifying wall of flesh and fury aimed right at the Roman lines. This was the moment Hannibal hoped would break the Romans before the real fight even got started. But Scipio's crazy plan worked. It worked perfectly. As the elephants charged, the Roman horns blasted this deafening sound that just terrified the animals. Some of them bolted straight down the lane Scipio had made, just like he planned. But a whole bunch of others panicked and veered off, crashing right back into Hannibal's own cavalry, throwing them into complete chaos. This was the opening Scipio was waiting for. His cavalry charged, smashed the disorganized Carthaginian horsemen, and chased them completely off the battlefield. In just the first few minutes, Hannibal had lost his elephants and his cavalry. So with the flanks totally empty, the battle became exactly what Hannibal had planned for, a monstrous, head-on collision between the infantry. We're talking tens of thousands of men locked in a desperate, bloody struggle, shield to shield, sword to sword. Hannibal's first line of mercenaries just slammed into the Romans. They fought like crazy, but the disciplined Romans just slowly, brutally pushed them back. The retreating mercenaries tried to fall back, but Hannibal's second line wouldn't let them through, forcing them to flee around the sides. So now, this fresh second line hits the exhausted Romans, and the fighting just gets even more intense. The Romans, having already fought through one line of enemies, were now being pushed to their absolute limit by the second. They were taking heavy losses. And all this time, Hannibal's ultimate weapon, his third line of undefeated veterans, they're just standing there, watching, waiting, and they are completely fresh. These are the men who had been with him for nearly 2 decades and had never lost. So here's the crucial moment, right? Scipio's legions are exhausted, they're battered. Hannibal's elite soldiers haven't even broken a sweat yet. It really looked like Hannibal's plan, even with the elephant failure, was about to work. The stage was set for that final, decisive clash. So both sides reorganize for one final push. The 2 walls of men charge each other. The fighting is just this grim, desperate stalemate. Nobody is giving an inch. It could have gone to either way. And then, right at the peak of the battle, the ground starts to shake. It was Scipio's cavalry. They were back. After chasing off their enemies, they returned at the absolute perfect, most decisive moment you could possibly imagine. They thundered into the rear of Hannibal's unprotected veterans. And in this moment of just supreme irony, Hannibal, the master of surrounding his enemies, was himself surrounded. His line collapsed, the battle was over. The slaughter on the plains of Zama was the final, bloody chapter of the war. But its impact would echo for centuries. Let's dig into the aftermath and see how this one single battle completely reshaped the world. I mean, just look at these numbers. They're staggering. Carthage lost 20,000 men killed and another 20,000 captured. Their army wasn't just defeated, it was wiped out. Roman losses at 1,500 were just a fraction of their enemies. This was a victory of almost unbelievable proportions. The peace treaty Rome forced on them was absolutely crushing. Carthage was stripped of its entire empire, its navy was basically dismantled, and it wasn't allowed to wage war without Rome's permission. In other words, its days as a great power were over. Forever. The path was now wide open for Rome to become the undisputed master of the Mediterranean. And what happened to our 2 titans? Well, Scipio went back to Rome as a living legend. They gave him a new name, Africanus, for his victory. But his fame made a lot of politicians jealous, and he ended up dying in self-imposed exile. Hannibal, he was allowed to help rebuild Carthage at first, but he was also forced into exile and was hunted by the Romans for the rest of his life. It's kind of strange. 2 of history's greatest commanders, one winner, one loser, both sharing a similar, bittersweet end. Years later, the story goes that the 2 men met again. Scipio asked Hannibal, "Who do you think is the greatest general of all time?" Hannibal said Alexander the Great, then another guy named Pyrrhus, and then himself. Scipio laughed and asked, Well, where would you have put yourself if you had beaten me at Zama? And Hannibal's reply says it all. In that case, he said, I should have put myself before Alexander. It was the ultimate compliment, a profound show of respect from one legend to another. And that brings us to the end of our story. But it leaves us with one final, massive question. The Battle of Zama wasn't just another Roman victory. It was a fundamental turning point in world history. If Hannibal's veterans had just held on for a few more minutes, if Scipio's cavalry had returned just a little too late, what would our world look like today? It's something to think about.